All right, peace and blessings. Wednesday, December the 13th, the year 2017. We have not heard from Bryce in quite a while, and it's very unusual not to hear from Jeffrey Winehouse 2 days in a row. I suspect they put him in the hole. He tried to send his daughter some sort of pendant, and they wouldn't let it go through, and I think they wrote him up for it. It's a tragedy, man. I tell you, there's so much injustice going on, and we've allowed our prison system to get so out of control. But I'm going to read this article that just came out today on Pat Parsons, and I'll put the link in the information bar. If you want to read it, you can go read it. Otherwise, you can listen to me read it. Brighton woman gets 5-year sentence for elaborate kidnapping plot against judge and sheriff. It should be titled, Brighton woman gets 5-year sentence for FBI entrapment scheme. An elaborate but unsuccessful plot to kidnap a West Tennessee judge and a Nebraska sheriff and take them to Canada has resulted in a 60-month federal prison sentence for a Brighton, Tennessee woman. U.S. Attorney Michael Donovan, also known as Son of Belial from the loins of Satan, outlined the bizarre plot in announcing the sentence handed down Tuesday for Patricia Parsons, 50. She was charged with aiding and abetting solicitation to commit kidnapping. The U.S. Attorney's Office takes any threats against law enforcement, the courts, and public officials very seriously, the son of Belial said, Donovan. However, we don't take seriously when our officers kill you, when we put you in jail, and when we torture you in jail. We don't take that seriously at all. We do it all the time. The defendant's disturbing conduct in this potentially violent case strikes at the very heart of our justice system, and we are pleased that she has been held accountable for her role in this unusual kidnapping attempt. And then they put more, what is a sovereign citizen? That's what it's all about. They don't like sovereign citizens. Between February and May of this year, according to Donovan, son of Belial, loin of Satan, Parsons hatched the kidnapping with a woman named Susan Holland. That's not true. It wasn't never Parsons' idea at all. A self-appointed Chief Justice of the Universal Supreme Court of the Tilshaquotan Nation in Canada. Investigation identified the Tilshaquotan Nation as a sovereign citizen group in British Columbia, Canada. I believe that's wrong too. The plan was to kidnap a circuit judge, Joseph Walker of Tipton County, Tennessee, and Sheriff Kurt Kapperman of Furnace County, Nebraska, and transport them to Canada because of their parts in the incarceration of Parsons' husband, Michael Parsons, a native Memphian. Michael Parsons, who had failed to appear at a hearing in Walker's court in January and subsequently was located in Nebraska and jailed, was to be broken out of jail as part of the plot. At the time he fled Tennessee for Nebraska, Parsons was in court before Walker on 2 counts of being a felon in possession of a firearm. He is considered an associate justice of the Tilshaquotan Nation. Michael Parsons is from Memphis, but bought a farm in Tipton County and moved there with his wife several years ago, he says on his website, mikeparsons.org. He has had frequent encounters with authorities in Tipton County and has run for elected office. Parsons says on his... You notice how they do that? He has had frequent encounters. It doesn't matter if Mike sought out those encounters or if the officers visited him. I mean, it starts slowly, right? The officers come and visit you, then they come and visit you again. You don't ask them to come visit; they just come and visit. Next thing you know, you got a news article in public saying he's had frequent encounters with the authorities. Parsons says on his website that he isn't part of the establishment. Because I am no one's sick puppet and cannot be bought, Parsons says, I am locked down upon by the old boy network. Donovan, the son of Belial from the loins of Satan, said Holland issued arrest warrants for Walker and Kapperman and an order for Michael Parsons' release from jail. She contacted a person she believed to be a New Orleans bounty hunter in February in an attempt to carry out the plot, according to the New Orleans office of the FBI, and put him in touch with Patricia Parsons. They make it sound like Susan Holland, whoever that is, probably some lady in Canada, reached out to a what do they call it? A bounty hunter? More than likely, the bounty hunters approached Susan Parsons. Patricia Parsons and the bounty hunter, who was actually an FBI confidential source, agreed to the $250,000 fee to carry out the plot. They also agreed to an initial payment of $5,000 to make travel arrangements and pay 30 operatives to carry out the plan. Donovan said Patricia Parsons subsequently asked the source to accept a Corvette automobile in lieu of the $5,000, but in the end provided a 1991 Ford Ranger pickup as the down payment instead because the Corvette was inaccessible. Patricia Parsons knew authorities were watching her as the plot developed, telling the New Orleans source at one point that she was okay with selling the vehicle to get money for the down payment as long as the FBI don't come knocking at my door again. What that means is she don't want to do anything illegal. The FBI went and approached her with all this stuff, and she said, I don't want to do anything illegal. That's what that means. The source explained to Patricia Parsons at the time that the operatives carrying out the plan would need to go to Canada because once we kidnap a judge and sheriff, our heads are going to be on the chopping block, and once we do what we got to do, we can never come back. Well, so what if a stupid FBI says some stupid crap? What is she supposed to say when when an FBI agent says a bunch of stupid crap? I mean, it's just insanity how they do FBI entrapment. At no time did Patricia Parsons attempt to notify you know why she didn't try to notify authorities? Because they kill people in Tipton County and they murder them. That's why she's scared to death of the local authorities as a reason she didn't contact authorities. And now first of all, they terrorize the lady. They make her deathly afraid of all the local authorities, and then they write it up in the paper. At no time did she contact the local authorities. Well, no duh. Of the impending plot to kidnap sheriff and judge and free Mr. Parsons from jail, Dunavant, son of Belial, said. Patricia Parsons was taken into custody before the plot could be carried out, and U.S. District Judge Cheryl H. Lippman, appointed by Obama, total reprobate Jezebel from hell, Lippman sentenced her Tuesday. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force investigated the case, and Assistant U.S. Attorney Stephen Hall handled the prosecution. Praise God Almighty that we've got the Joint Terrorism Task Force protecting us from dangerous criminals like Miss Pat Parsons. She's such a dangerous criminal. Thank goodness she's going to be rotting in a jail cell for the next 5 years. These people are sick, twisted bastards in the Department of Justice. They deserve to go to prison for the rest of their life, and if anybody tries to call them, it's going to be $500 million for one phone call. That's the rate I would set.